All right, welcome in. It is time for Total Bases. If you saw me laughing before we came on air, it's because we were just joking about, of course, the parlay yesterday. There was only one way that Royals Tigers was going to end, and that was 10-9 when we said we all liked the under. But other than that, I mean, I had a 3-0 day on the basis, 4% winners. I know Brian had a big 5% winner on the Guardians. Parker Messick, you said he was going to pitch well. You didn't say he was going to take no hitter into the ninth inning, but that was awesome. TB has been killing it all year. How was your day yesterday, TB?
Yeah, I won 4%, and then I lost 2 plays. Small profit or break even kind of day. I've been like that for a couple days in a row now.
If you're like that every day, small profit a couple days in a row is nothing to downplay. It's hard to do, and the three of us are doing it right now. TB and I both have 5%ers today. Brian's red hot. No better time than now to check out that double play package, which is up on all of our pages. Tokyo Brandon, I'm going back to you for our feature game today. You know, you jumped in the comments after the Red Sox 9-1 win and said, okay, like I just here we go. Right. But my response to you was, I don't know. They're going to need about 5 more of those before I say, okay, like they're turning anything around. I had the Red Sox on Wednesday. I noted Connolly early was in a good spot, and he's someone I like. But I'll send this one to you. Tigers, red hot. They somehow won again yesterday. Big come from behind win. Red Sox, they do get some momentum to bring back to Fenway Park on a big blowout win on Wednesday. Are you still selling this Red Sox team?
Yeah, guys, jump in the comments like on the replay as well, because if you got any baseball questions, all 3 of us are pretty efficient in checking your comments and answering if you have questions. If you're a normal person, if you're like a weirdo, we'll probably ignore it. But if you're a normal person, we will love to go back.
Like a pep.
Yeah, this guy's telling you you're not normal. But anyways, so we got the feature game. Yeah, this is going to be a good one. Red Sox Tigers. We got Ranger Suarez and Casey Mize. Yeah, neither one of these pitchers have been pitching very well. I got both of them under the mediocre line. But everything else besides starting pitcher, I have Boston with the advantage, which that kind of disheartens me a little bit, because I just went on a tirade about how this team's playing with no heart and they're gutless, and then they go on a tear. Right now I've got them ranked 9th in batting, and I got them ranked 8th in bullpen. Tigers ranked 10th in bullpen, so the bullpens are pretty even. Neither starter is actually performing very well, and the head-to-head batter versus pitcher numbers, not really enough of a sample size, although Suarez does have a 800 plus OPS against these batters, but small sample size, so I'm not going to take too much into that. And also, you can't take too much into the starting pitcher current form, since we're only in week 3 of the season. So batting wise though, Boston, they're heating up. Those bats are heating up, and Detroit's are rather cold right now. And I have on my silent flaccidity list, I do have the Tigers on that because they just blew up yesterday for 10 runs. I think they're going to cool off today. I'm not going to bet Boston, but if I had to bet this game, I probably would take Boston. I think they'll probably score more runs. And where I come from, scoring more runs means you win the game.
Yeah, Brian, get in here on this one. I was certain the Tigers' losing streak or winning streak was coming to an end yesterday. And they rattled off 3 in the 9th to just steal one from the Royals and stay hot. As Tokyo Brandon said, a 10-9 win for the Tigers yesterday, but outside of sort of rallying off maybe a tired Royals pen, hasn't been much offense for the Tigers of late. Yep. Red Sox break out on Wednesday, but it's still only one game for them. How do you see this game going at Fenway tonight?
Yeah, from a weather standpoint, the wind's going to be blowing in tonight. Probably going to cost a half a home run in this game. Weird weather. Right now outside in Vegas, the wind's blowing like crazy. It wouldn't surprise me if my internet goes out while we're doing the show. It's just been 45-mile-an-hour wind gusts. And so a lot of crazy weather out there. There's only 2 games in which the weather's going to benefit. And every other one basically is going to hurt the offenses a little bit. With Detroit having yesterday playing against Kansas City, that to me, those are the 2 favorites to win this division. And the way they came back and the excitement of that game, you've got to figure a little bit of a letdown. I know you go to Boston. Everybody likes to play at Fenway Park, but I could see a little bit of a letdown here for Detroit after beating Kansas City in the way they did at big divisional rival. Boston playing slightly better than they did before. Still not ready to buy in on them, but with Suarez in the in the 120, 125 range here at home with a total of 8.5. I prefer the Boston side. They had yesterday off. Their bullpen's in much better shape than Detroit is. Detroit didn't have to really use their key relievers yesterday because they were behind for a lot of the game, but they did have to pitch 2 out of the last 3 days. So the bullpen is a bigger edge here for Boston than Detroit. That's where I think the edge is. So instead of playing anything pregame, I expect both these pitchers to go about 5 innings, slightly over 5 innings. So if it's a close game after 5 innings, I may look to play Boston live in the second half of this game, especially if it's like tied or something to that effect. And I think you'll get a little bit better line than what we're getting pregame.
I think I'm ready to buy in on the Red Sox. I talked about it on Wednesday. I felt like that was a play for me because I really like the starting pitcher, and I thought they could overcome, whatever sort of issues they were having if he threw a good start. But it didn't even really matter. I mean, he didn't have to be great. The offense broke out. They won that game easily. If they can carry that into this game, I'm with you, Brian. I think you get to the later innings of this game, Boston at home is going to have a pretty big edge here. Better bullpen, and you look at the usage over the last couple of days. I mean, the Tigers have had to use guys. That's the one thing when you're winning a lot of close games. Like you look at the Royals series, 2-1, 2-1, 10-9. Go back to the Marlins series, a 2-0 game in there as well. When you're winning a bunch of close games, you're going to start to tax that bullpen. It's why I think personally, that's why we don't see many 15 game winning streaks, 10 game winning streaks. You see a lot of 6 and 7 game winning streaks. That's not uncommon in baseball. But to get up to that 10, 11, 12 in a row, it's really tough. Why is that? Because when you're winning, unless you're just winning games by 5-6 runs, you burn out those relievers. It tends to come back to bite you right around this time. So I will look for a spot in with the Red Sox this weekend. I didn't know if I could get there with Suarez per se, but I haven't been big on Mize either. I like the Red Sox here. This might be my parlay league, but I'm going to wait till the end of the show. Someone say and the other thing is we still have people. Someone says before you bet any of your hard-earned money on Boston, please consider donating to the Red Cross. I see, this is the thing. I don't buy into that the Red Sox are just a donation at this point. I still think they probably may I still think they're going to compete to get in the playoffs. I'm not out on the Red Sox like some other, I know TB has been out on them. A lot of the chat has. I still think this team could be pretty good. Anyway.
Playing well right now.
Yeah. Again, like I said, you've been right onto them to this point. Since you made the comment at 1-5, they haven't been any better. So I'll give you that, but it's such a long season, and I still think there's a lot of upside here. All right, TB, you were this is the other Apple TV game. I'm going to go to you because you texted us last night and said, "Oh, this is a really interesting game," and I am actually with you. This is a very interesting game. I was very disappointed in the Pirates that they couldn't somehow at least tie the game in extras. I felt like they were going to win it once they had first and third. The game ends on a double play yesterday. If you missed that one, Connor Griffin did get his total bases prop again. So I'm bringing it up again, but I'm going to go to you, Tokyo Brandon. The Rays coming off a sweep of the White Sox. Rays Pirates, how are you seeing this one?
This to me, to a baseball fan, this is going to be an interesting game. I think we got two teams that are really playing well right now, but nobody expected them to be leading. Probably not a lot of people expected them to have the records they have right now. Pirates are playing great. The Pirates are really playing well, and the Rays are just clobbering people. So really interesting game. We got Nick Martinez, who played for SoftBank here in Japan for a while. Never been a fan of his, but man, he's looked impressive so far this season. I'm not on his bandwagon quite yet. I need to see a little more consistency, but he's pitched really well. And Bubba Chandler, young guy who a lot of people are real high on, but these young guys can be quite inconsistent, even though they have tons of raw talent. So, these guys are not guys like, like Max Scherzer and guys in their prime who you just rely on game after, or like Jacob deGrom or something like that. The young guys, they can pitch like that, but they can also get clobbered. So, but Bubba Chandler looks really good as well. So we got two really up and coming teams with two pitchers who are pitching really well. How do I approach it? I got the bullpens pretty even, but I got the Rays hitting better, and I got Martinez ranked slightly higher than Chandler. I don't really want to back Nick Martinez because I watched him gack so bad here in Japan before he went back to Major League. He played for SoftBank here. Man, he was not very good out here. I was surprised he went back to Major League, but and in Major League, he in the majors, he hasn't looked good until at least to me, he hasn't looked good until this season. Now he's starting to look good. I really don't know what to expect from him, but if anything, my numbers are telling me to back the Rays in this one.
Brian, I pulled up a comment from the chat from B. Young. He said 4 errors for the Pirates yesterday. They're the worst defensive team in the league. It's like not close.
Yankees?
That's like a no. The Pirates are far and away the worst defensive team.
Worse than the Yankees.
Like that. Okay. That is far worse. Like I don't think it's even close. I think they're like going to be dead last in like fielding percentage this season. I don't see how that like really improves for them. That is probably the biggest weakness of this Pirates team. I'll be honest, I was a little bit disappointed that they couldn't take 3 or 4 from the Nationals. I went into that series thinking that they would only lose one of those games. They lost 2 of them, and they lost 2 of them by 1 run. And, of course, yesterday's was a game that I really felt like they probably should have won, even right there in extra innings when they were down 8-7 and had it all set up for them there. So, Brian, the Rays, though, sweep the White Sox. But to me, that was just as much White Sox really playing poorly than it was the Rays just being a better team. So I'm a little conflicted here. Talk to me about Rays Pirates. Can you find a way into this game?
Yeah, I feel about the same way as you do in this. Like the way Tampa Bay plays, but Chicago made so many managerial decisions that were bad in that game, and the team hadn't been playing well, and so I'm not putting a lot of faith into Tampa Bay with that sweep. Nick Martinez played in the National League with the Reds last few years, so he knows all about Pittsburgh, so he's very comfortable playing against them. Bubba Chandler's the guy that's TB pointed out. Young guys have good starts. They look great, and other days they look terrible, so they're very inconsistent. I will say the top 3 or 4 guys in the Pittsburgh lineup are just on fire right now. And it would not surprise me if these teams get off to a pretty good start. From a side standpoint, I think the line's correct. But if you're looking to play the yes to score a run in the first inning, I wouldn't have a problem with it. Like I said, the Pittsburgh top of the order has been great. Martinez isn't an overpowering pitcher. Tampa Bay's 2 of their top, Diaz and the third baseman right now are hot, and they're 2 of the top 4 hitters. So I would say yes in the first inning that there would be a run scored at Yurfee. That would be the only thing at this game at this point that I think has value.
Before we move on from this one, I'm just gonna try to think outside the box for a second here and throw it just a thought out to both of you. David Edgington points out that Tampa Bay is not a very good defensive team either. I haven't seen this market in a while. It used to be quite popular. I'm sure it still exists. Would this be a scenario where, and Bubba Chandler's guilty of walking guys? I mean, he's got electric stuff and a great future, but he will put guys on base. Would you go run hits errors over with either of these teams or both of these teams, maybe knowing that you might get like 3 or 4 or maybe even 5 sort of like points for errors from both of these teams? TV, you want anyone, just someone jump in. That was a thought. Because you do runs, hits, errors. I don't think they really price the errors in. It's almost like you get some free like points for that going over. And then it's like both teams are hitting the ball. Bubba Chandler puts guys on base. So I'm just saying like maybe there's some free value in something like that.
I've never bet anything like errors and stuff. I never really keep track of that stuff. So I wouldn't be a good person to comment on that, but I do have my batters to back here, and I see a lot of Phillies on that list, but we'll get to that game perhaps later. But regarding the error prop, I never bet that, so I can't really give a good read on it.
Yeah, for myself, errors beget errors. When you're a defensive player and you make a mistake, you tend to dwell on that, and then of course the next ball gets hit to you. We'll just talk a little bit about Cleveland yesterday, trying to survive that game yesterday. Brito made a bad decision the other day, and cost the Guardians a win. They had to go to overtime. Yesterday, he was a hit to right field. He's the cutoff guy. He's got the Panda running to second base. He decides to throw to third. Not a chance to get the guy to third. He goes to second, and they've got him. And I'm losing all faith in Brito. And then if you watch the game with 2 out, he makes a diving stop, saves the tying runs, throws the ball to first base, and he's the hero. He goes from the GOAT to the hero in like 2 or 3 plays. It gets in these guys' heads. You know, if you could go a clean game, there's going to be a lot of games where there's no errors for a certain team, but then there's other games you don't get 1, you get 2 or 3, and so that's hard to project that ahead of time.
Since I brought it up on Monday, the Connor Griffin total bases over has hit every day. I believe the hits, runs, RBIs has hit every day as well. Yesterday, total bases was hit in one swing. He tripled off the wall. The reason I bring that up, generational talent. I'll continue to say it until I'm blue in the face. He's hitting 214 with a 602 OPS. Both of those things are likely to be higher. I would continue play. If you've been playing along, a couple of people have DM'd me, said I've played it every day. That's great. I would play it until it loses. Guy's a generational talent. His best prospect to come through since Bryce Harper, and his numbers do not reflect that yet at the big league level. Yet, to start the season, he had like a 1,200 OPS in the minors. So, again, I think you continue to press with that. Chris Lawrence says, hey, Adam, any value on the Mets? That's the day game. I know that's what you guys want to talk about here, day baseball on a Friday. So I'll go to you, Brian. I think there's value on the Mets here. I said there's going to be value on the Mets every day. The question is this the time we actually start playing that? Cubs, Mets to you.
Yeah, I do agree that there is value on the Mets. Do you have the gumption? I'll just keep it that way. To play them, I don't know. The wind in Wrigley, they're expecting 14% more runs than normally. It's blowing out and towards left field. The home run projection is supposed to be 35% more than normal, which is about 0.8 of a home run. So that's something to keep in mind. From a pitching standpoint, Senga, everything he's done all offseason and to the regular season, he's looked great. But then he got bombed. Cabrera, I'm not a huge Cabrera fan. I know the people in Chicago are excited about him, and he's done pretty well. But both of these guys have had walk problems in the past. We're expecting Senga to walk 3.5 batters and Cabrera to walk 3.3. You're getting extra players on base with a game in which the wind is blowing out. The total in this game right now is 10.5, which tells you right there. All you got to do is look at the Cubs total, and if it's like more than, if it's 9 or more, the wind's blowing out. If it's 7.5 or less, the wind's blowing in. Easy way to handicap without even knowing the weather situation. Both these pitchers have the ability to pitch well. I don't know if I trust either one of them from a standpoint of where I think the value is. I think there's value on the Mets, but I don't trust them right now. So it's a game in which I'll probably be sitting it out.
Tokyo, Brandon, both two pitchers that are so frustrating because when Kodai Senga looks good, he looks incredible. When Edward Cabrera is on, he's unhittable. But they've both been so hit or miss. This season, Senga more so. Cabrera's been pretty solid, but I mean, we've seen Cabrera get off to great starts before too, and then the other shoe drops. So how do you evaluate that Cubs Mets, and do you have a play in this one?
So before I get to that, Brian just won a 5%. Adam and I have a 5% out today. Double play. You can get 3 days of 2 of us. It's a great deal. Go to wagertalk.com and grab that. It's really good. So my numbers like the Cubs better than the Mets. The Cubs are hitting number 6 in MLB right now in current form, and the Mets are hitting 28. The Mets need to break out before I'm going to back them. I have the bullpens pretty comparably even, and I've got Cabrera ranked higher than Senga. Senga's been walking at least 2 guys per start this season, and that's not good. He walked 3 in his first start and then 2 in each start after that. That's not real good, and his ERA is 7 right now, so he needs to come around. Senga's, I don't know his age, but he pitched in Japan forever for the same team Nick Martinez played for SoftBank. But he's got to be up there in age. He's got to be in his 30s. I think he's coming down. I can't back the Mets until they actually show me they can score. But Brian's right. These guys are wildly inconsistent, so you really don't know what to expect from them. But what I do know is the Cubs can score runs. I would take maybe a Cubs team total in this. I haven't done it yet. Everything in my numbers points to the Cubs, but when I look at the head-to-head, in other words, how the pitchers fare against the batters they're facing today, Senga has really good numbers and Cabrera has bad ones. So it totally nulls itself from my numbers to what you actually see. Everything gets nulled. So I'm not going to bet this game.
Nick Martinez will be 36 in August. So yeah, he has been around for a while. And Dan, so I want to, before we move on, he says value on the Mets today. You mean the same message that has been shut out 3 times this week. I've lost 8 in a row. That is what I was trying to say. If you watch the show and listen to the show on Monday, I said, hey, this could get ugly for the Mets because they lost 5 in a row at home to teams that they probably should have beat. Now they were looking at a road trip to LA and to Wrigley. I said that this could be a prolonged losing streak for the Mets, and that's exactly what's happened. I also said you're going to find value on the Mets every single day. That's what's happening because they're good. The books are going to tempt you to play it every single day while they're cold. What I'll say about this is the Cubs and the Dodgers are not the same team, okay? The Cubs are a pretty big step down from the Dodgers right now. And that's why I think that this weekend the Mets will snap this streak. It may be here. I do think there's value Mets money line, and I wouldn't put anyone off a Mets play. I was hoping the Cubs would get a little more respect so I could play Mets plus 1.5, but it's at a minus 145. It's not very appealing at that number, but I think you could take a flyer on a Mets money line here. I don't know if I'd lay this with the Cubs.
Let me ask you, Adam, real quick. Let me just jump in. What do you like about the Mets, though? What is their redeeming factor? Because relative to unless they show me something
relative to market, that's the only thing I like about the Mets is that relative to market, you're getting a good price on them. And the other thing is they just played what we all would consider as the best team in Major League Baseball. I don't think there's any argument right now. The Dodgers are the best team in Major League Baseball, and they had to go out to LA to play them. The Cubs have been an average baseball team to this point. I don't think the Cubs are sweeping this series. That's all I'm saying. So whether you jump in here or not, and I think Senga and Cabrera in a vacuum in one game is somewhat even. I'm not giving like Cabrera a huge edge there. So again, it's not I don't know if it'll make my card, but I'm just saying I can understand why someone would back the Mets here.
Sure. I got you.
All right, let's move on. I'm going to go grab one out of the chat. Let's see. Yeah, I get the try to catch a falling knife theory. But again, I think you can like start to look at it. Like this is probably the weekend where you can buy in at some point. Okay. G Hurt wants to go to Rangers Mariners. He says, trap under, need to discuss bullpens, make me want to slam over 6.5. Bryan Leonard. I don't know if I could slam a Mariners over at this point. Team has looked lethargic at the plate. They have played, I guess that game got up there the other night, the game they choked away, but they really haven't hit yet this year. That being said, G Hurt, I was on the Rangers yesterday. It was a 4% win for me, but their bullpen wasn't great. However, it was more the wind that cost them runs in that game. Like 3 runs scored on a routine pop-up to left field that got blown. Like Brian was saying, the wind is bad. It got blown like halfway across the field. Like he had no chance. So Rangers Mariners, wind won't be a factor in this one tonight. At least I don't think up in Seattle. So talk to me about this one, Brian. Do you have any interest on the home team here?
I'm not a believer in the fallen knife theory. If you were a believer of that, you're always paying more for the team you're looking to back, and you're never going to catch a team at a good price that is about to turn it around. We've all seen it all season long. Teams go on to winning streaks. Teams go on losing streaks. Look at the Milwaukee Brewers. 1 minute they're the best team in baseball. The next minute they've lost 7 straight. I'm totally against that. I know a lot of guys. I know Steve Merrill talks about that a lot, and he's had a lot of success in the past. But no, I don't believe in that. I want to play teams with value. You never find value on a hot team. So that's all I got to say about that. Is Forrest Gump would say. DeGrom against Gilbert here. We're looking at Seattle's about a 125 favorite and a total of 6.5, as was pointed out. These are two teams that have really good pitching, and I have concerns about the offense. Seattle last year was great on the road. You could see how their team would go on the road, and they were very competitive offensively. They come home, and they don't score much. This year, when they've gone on the road, they've been lousy. I've talked about it just about every day. I'm sorry for the guys that say that we repeat things, but Seattle's one of the most, if not the most, unlucky team in baseball. That said, in this game, if I'm playing, I'm probably taking Texas. Gilbert just, to me, has not looked as good as he had in the past. Something is slightly wrong. If you watch these pitchers long enough, you realize that maybe it's like Cade Smith for the Cleveland Guardians. Something's wrong there. He's finishing off the games. He hasn't gotten hurt real bad, but there's something wrong. He's not getting the strikeouts. If you watch enough baseball, you could see these kind of things. Gilbert's not a guy right now I want to back. DeGrom had that bad start. He had the one injury scare, but overall he's been a little bit more consistent in my opinion. And if I had to play this one, that would be the way I would go. But to be honest with you, we've got a full slate here, and as much as this is going to be a really good game, we've got other games that we can make money on. I don't see any edges in this one.
Tokyo Brandon, if you remember last year, I probably said this 3 or 4 times that I thought Gilbert would have like surgery at the end of the season. He had a elbow flexor strain and spent a month on the IL last May. I was certain that he had like a serious injury and he was just pitching through it because the Mariners had a real chance to win a World Series and or get to a World Series. Of course, they fell like 1 game short. And I was kind of surprised when he didn't end up like I thought after the season it was going to come out that he was seriously hurt, pitching through injury, was going to have surgery. He didn't. Brian, maybe you're right about that. Maybe he's still kind of just pitching through it, doesn't want to miss time. I don't know where he's at in terms of like getting a contract, but all things that play into it. TB though, I'll throw this to you because it's a low total. So that it's shaded to the under. You have two pitchers, big names. Are you with our friend G Hurt? Do you think this is an over? And if not, who do you like on the side?
I'm getting a lot of conflicting messages on this game from when I analyze this. I got the Rangers as a play on team, but they're also on my don't play team list. So the Rangers are on both lists. If you look at Logan Gilbert, he's got, I think, 140 something at bats against these guys, and his OPS is under 500. I mean, he dominates these batters. So I really would love to do a Rangers first 5 inning team total under, but it's only 1.5, and that's pretty dicey in Major League Baseball, even for a team like the Rangers who rank almost dead last in hitting right now in current form. So Mariners are back home after being on the road with no rest. So that's kind of a red flag for them as well. So yeah, I'm probably going to stay away from this game, but I mean, just without overthinking, it looks like an under, but I probably won't do it.
My gut says the Mariners win this game. They got swept in Texas, but the finals were 2-1, 3-2, and 3-0. They then went out at home, swept the Astros, and then they come back and get swept by the Padres, on the road in a game, in a series where they blew a game that really should never have been a 6-0 lead in the position they had it in. Is just a horrific loss. So, I don't think you're really catching a falling knife, so to speak, if you like the Mariners here. I mean, they did get swept in 3 games, but they preceded that with a 4-game sweep at home. I just think that they played good enough to get one of those in the first series with the Rangers. The Rangers used some bullpen yesterday, and really that whole series was pretty crazy out in Sacramento. That was like a back and forth. I believe it was a split. Rangers got into big time leverage situations late in games a couple of times there. I think this is a bad spot for the Rangers. So I like the Mariners here. Bryan Leonard, I'm going to go to you. Do you like one enough to lock it in for our parlay?
As opposed to yesterday, where I thought it was a really nice card, I'm having problems coming up with a lot. This is 6 a.m. out here in Vegas. This is my early look. I look at the lines overnight to see if I have anything that I think is jumping out at me. I'm not seeing a ton of value, so I will come in. I'm going to take a look at this Atlanta-Philadelphia game. I am going to come in with the slight road favorite, Martin Perez, for Atlanta against Walker. This is one time in my entire life that I thought Martin Perez was the better starting pitcher in a matchup. He's going against Taijuan Walker. Right now, Atlanta's about a 110 favorite. It's slightly more than a pick'em, but the total in this game is 9.5. I just don't trust the Phillies at this point, and the Braves have been very consistent all season long. When you go to Roster Resource on Fangraphs, and I've talked about this, where they break down how hot the hitters are, and in the last 7 days, seven of the 9 hitters for the Atlanta Braves have been in the top 100 in Major League Baseball. They've even got, Dominic Smith is 6th. Dubon is 88th. So even guys who you don't expect much of, they're hot. Albies 75th, Riley 34, Olsen 27, Baldwin 77, Acuna 66. That's a hot lineup, and they're going against a pitcher that is somebody I'm looking to fade. They did have yesterday off. Now, Atlanta's bullpen, the top 4 guys pitched on Tuesday and Wednesday. But luckily, they had yesterday off. They didn't have to pitch. Their bullpen's not as good a shape as Philadelphia's is. But so maybe the first 5 is probably a better play for Philadelphia, for Atlanta. But I just don't trust this Philadelphia team. I've watched them. They are honestly, I'm an older guy myself, but their lineup's pretty old. You can still hit for some power, but overall, I just don't like the way the Phillies are playing this year. So we're getting the hotter team. with what I consider to be the better starting pitcher, and you're getting in basically a pick'em range. So give me Atlanta with Martin Perez at basically a 110 favorite.
Yeah, I want to talk about this game, and then we'll go to, we'll do the full sort of treatment for this game because I think it's an interesting one to talk about. There's six in Major League Baseball that have scored over 100 runs so far this season. The Braves are one of them, and the Braves run differential of 44 is the second best mark in Major League Baseball. The only team with a better run differential coming into play today is the Dodgers. And those two are far ahead of everyone else. Just at a quick glance, the next best run differential in the league is actually the Padres. I wouldn't have got that. And I might have to eat my words a little bit with the Padres. I saw someone say that in the chat. Hey, that was me. There you go, TB. I trashed the Padres. They're like 9-1 in their last 10 games. To Brian's point,
I like it.
The Phillies are nowhere near that list in terms of like run production. They actually have a negative 25 run differential, and they've only scored 72 runs this year. I think the Braves are could be scary good because remember, they've had injuries derail them right before the season, and they haven't missed a beat. So Brian, I can't talk you off the Braves here. TB, Braves, Phillies to you.
You're backing Martin Perez. Wow. That guy's been cut by so many teams. He's probably bled to death. He even got cut by a AAA team. Wow, you got some courage there, Brian.
Walker didn't pitch for the Phillies. He'd have been cut a few times too. I think,
but you're right.
Yeah,
it's all because you're right.
According to my rankings, Taijuan Walker ranks 29 on a curve of 30. So yeah, he's almost dead last. Where at least Martin Perez is 21. So. The Braves are number one in hitting. The Phillies have a lot of names, a lot of bluster, but not a lot of production. Adam is perfectly hitting the nail right on the head there. The Phillies are extremely overrated so far until their guys start performing. So this is the difference between the Dodgers and the Phillies. The Dodgers, Freeman and Teoscar Hernandez, they haven't really got the fire going yet, but their 6, 7, 8, 9 guys are picking up the slack. The Phillies, that's not happening right now. So their production is sinking. If Harper and Schwarber and those guys don't hit, the end guys don't pick up the slack for them. So that's the difference. I like an over in this game, actually. I think it's 9, but you got two horrible pitchers. We got one bullpen that's not performing very well, which is Atlanta. And we got Atlanta, the number one offense in MLB in current form. I think this flies over 9. I haven't bet it, and I'm not making it my parlay leg, but 9 seems low to me, actually, in this one.
It's currently 9.5.
Oh, it went up.
Yeah,
okay.
If you want to talk about just I saw someone put their Tigers future in the chat, said they played it yesterday, and I know the chat likes to talk about futures at different times throughout the year. Take the Braves to win the World Series. Their rotate. I mean, they're probably without two guys that are going to be regulars in their rotation. Spencer Strider pitched a rehab outing the other day, and Didier Fuentes, the guy they tried to ruin last year, calling him up at 19, is just taking souls in the minors right now. He'll be back and he'll be a regular in this rotation. The Braves are they're really good. Brian's nodding.
They've got 4 guys right now that are hurt or in the minors. That could be 4 of their 5 best pitchers by the end of the season. I'm in full agreement. The Mets have not shown anything, and Atlanta. If you're, I don't know what the exact line is, so I'm not going to make a comment on it. But if you can get them at a pretty good number, that would be a team I'd be looking at for a future.
All right, TB, we need to know what you're looking at for the parlay here.
Okay. Adam and I both have 5%. Brian just won his 5%. We're all hot. Get our double play. 2 of us for 3 days is a huge discount. Go grab that. I'm going to look today at the Orioles game. They're playing the Guardians. I've got the Guardians on a flat spot here. Don't expect them. Yeah, they had a great game. Don't expect that to happen twice in a row. I like the Orioles lineup. I think they're a little underrated. I think they got a lot more pop than they're getting credit for. I like the Orioles first 5 innings over 1.5 for my parlay leg. Pretty sure it's -110. And actually, let me throw this in. Your boy Connor Griffin, his hits, runs, RBIs over 1.5 is +115 right now. So
great bet.
That's
as it's been the whole week.
Yeah, that's not my parlay leg though. I'm going to take the Orioles to score 2 runs in the first 5. I'll get you odds for that in just a minute.
Yeah, I'm just gonna double check it on a couple sites here.
I don't really like Bybee that much. I mean, he's one of those guys though. When I badmouth him, he comes out and has a great game. So I don't want to say too much.
Yeah, he's very inconsistent. I'm seeing anywhere from 130 to -130 to -135. Also, since we're talking about Cleveland, Parker Messick yesterday by far threw more pitches than he normally does. As much as I like Parker Messick, I actually love him. I think he's the best value in baseball. Next time he pitches, everybody's going to know about him now. And coming off of all those pitches, we see it all the time. Guys throw a lot of pitches, and they got the chance for either to get the no-hitter or pitch really late in the game. You usually try to fade them. Just keep that in mind. Everybody knows about him now. We may have lost all of our value on him.
It derailed Gavin Williams for like a month, if you remember. Gavin Williams for the Indians took a no-hitter into the 9th. It got broken up, and they let him go like a really, really way over his pitch count. And I mean, that derailed him for a full 3 or 4 starts. I think they actually had to skip him after. I think they skipped one of his starts because he came out the next time and just got pummeled. Brian, before I give my parlay leg out, people want to know if Messick Cy Young is good value. Someone posted plus 60 to 1 or something like that.
You could have gotten, I can't even imagine. He probably wasn't even on the board before the season started. I talk about not wanting to grab a knife on the way down or whatever. To bet him right now, you're betting him at a peak. And I'm worried about him getting wins because Cleveland doesn't hit very well. And at the end of the season, if he doesn't have 13, 14 wins, probably won't be considered. I'm not going to say no, don't bet it. I'm just saying that the better times were earlier than that. So, yeah, but I love the guy. I think he's great. I watched the game I always watch the opponent live show, and they were just amazed by him the entire game. So every team and the other teams that he had bet or he went up against, we talked about the Dodgers, three Atlanta, 3 of the top 5 offenses. He shut them down. Then he plays a team yesterday with not a very good offense, shuts them down. Yeah, he's no longer a guy that is going to have that kind of value.
Also, Cy Young, you need probably 130 innings pitched probably to be considered. I don't think they're going to let him. I don't think they're going to let him go that if they're not making the
playoffs.
He'll get
that.
He'll go 130, but you probably need about 160, I would think, to win the Cy Young because they talked about that with Ohtani, who, by the way, was awesome when he didn't pitch, or when he didn't hit in that game. By the way.
I mean, Messick's gonna throw the full season as long as he's healthy. He'll get the innings, no problem, in my opinion. Andy says, hate grabbing a knife when it's on its way down. That reminds me of one of my favorite Wager Talk Today segments of all time, where Prez took a large knife out of his kitchen drawer when someone said that and was flipping it up in the air while I was trying to break down a game. So I always think of that. It's probably a couple of years ago, but you should be tuning in to Wager Talk Today, especially right now with the NBA playoffs going, the NHL playoffs around the corner. Andy and the boys will take care of you. Wager Talk Today, noon Eastern, every day right here on the Wager Talk YouTube channel. If you missed this show, any part of it, just go back to the Wager Talk YouTube channel, check the replay, and that's what you'll need to do for my breakdown of my parlay leg because we opened the show with it. I like the Red Sox. I'm going to continue to ride this Red Sox team. I think it is the time to do so. I'll call it -125. I see 122, 123. I think 125 is fair. And that if I do add that one for clients, I'm gonna think about that as the day goes on. That's something I will put on my free picks page. Or free picks on everyone's page. And you can go to the free pick tab and see all the free picks WagerTalk has from all the handicappers in one very convenient place. One more time on the way out, the parlay. Bryan Leonard, Braves -110. I'm going to be on Red Sox -125. Tokyo Brandon is going to go with a team total. Orioles first 5 team total over 1.5. That's -135. Don't forget, we are at the Saturday time tomorrow. It's 10 a.m. Eastern, so we're an hour later. We'll go before last call tomorrow for another episode of Total Bases. We will see you at Saturday, 10 a.m. right here, and then back on Monday in the 9 o'clock slot. Have a good weekend, everyone, and cash all your tickets. We'll see you guys in the morning.